video has been a long time coming due to my computer constantly crashing and having to send it back to Asus 3 times. But I finally got it back, it's working, and I can finally make this script into a video. Let's talk about 3D printed LARP props. Roll the intro. Greetings, fellow adventurers. Fred here. Welcome to LARP Saga, the show that explores anything and everything live-action role-playing. Now, for the uninitiated, or those new to the channel, what is 3D printing? 3D printing is a process of additive manufacturing, where you take a digital model, which is converted into a file known as a G-code, which tells a machine called a 3D printer or where to put a material known as filament, and that is melted at a certain temperature and is placed in layers that are stacked on top of each other in a way to create a physical object from the model you see in the computer. It has a lot of potential for creative endeavors and rapid prototyping and a myriad of other sources. But what are the pros and cons of it being used for making LARP props? That's what we're finding out today. As we look at 3 pros and 3 cons of 3D printing LARP props. So without further preamble, let's dive into it. Kicking things off with the first pro of 3D printed LARP props, it increases the variability of what kind of props you can have in your game. Most LARPs are confined to certain materials, and those materials that are used to make props determine what you can and can't use in a game. With 3D printing, on the other hand, you can throw in the throwaway explanation that it's made by an unknown material, and that can allow you to have a lot more flexibility in the kinds of story props you can introduce into modules, and increase their quality and design. Moving on to the first con of 3D printing in LARP props, its price. For all the advances in 3D printing, even on the hobbyist level, it can still be quite pricey for someone to get into it. And that's not just buying the printer, which my personal 3D printer cost roughly about $250, $260 to obtain, but you gotta buy filament. There's maintenance costs at times, and because sometimes printer parts will fail. It can be a very expensive hobby to get into and sustain. The second pro of 3D printed LARP props is that they don't have to print the whole prop. But there is the possibility that a project can require some elements to be 3D printed due to intricacy, but the rest can be traditional methods like leatherworking or metal work. It all depends on the project, and it can seriously expand the possibilities of what a traditional crafter can create. The second con of 3D printed Larp props is durability issues. Sadly, not all filaments are created equal. And this can lead to props peeling apart or even breaking in some cases. I've seen this happen with some of my own creations, and it sucks, but you gotta be careful with what filaments you go for, because the cheaper ones tend to cause bad print jobs. And now for the last pro. It can potentially make Larp weapons and armor more accessible. Depending on the material you use and what files you use, you can 3D print chainmail or even full sections of armor like a pauldron, and that can be wearable. And when it comes to the weaponry, there's the possibility of 3D printing with TPU, a rubber-like substance that can create like softer, more flexible prints. And so you can 3D print like a sword or an axe with this stuff. Give it a good paint job and seal it up with some spray, and blam, you've got yourself a sword potentially. I haven't tried this. I'm going to experiment with it. Keep an eye out for that video at some point. And the third con is lacking in immersion. The materials used in 3D printing are potentially hard to make it seem like they belong in the world of the Larp. Which can sadly potentially bring a participant out of the experience by pretty much looking fake. Overall, 3D printing is a process that still is a new thing that has a ways to go, but I personally lean on the side that you can potentially at some point create top-tier props for LARPing with this method, and it's something that I am going to be exploring further in order to expand the creative potential of LARP props. Hey guys, Fred from the future here. I was going to start a thing where I gave away a 3D printed prop every now and then, and on the channel, but the way I did it broke a lot of YouTube guidelines and also Patreon guidelines. Not going to go into too much detail, but contest isn't happening for the time being, sadly. But it will happen as soon as I get myself familiarized with the rules revolving around contests. I'm sorry this had to happen, but I couldn't see any other way. Hey, I'll let Fred from the past come back to you to close out the video. Thank you. So those have been some of my thoughts on the pros and cons of 3D printed Larp props. Let me know any that I may have missed in the comments down below. If you're a returning viewer, thanks for stopping by. And if you're new around here, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to keep up to date with all the content we're putting out over here. You can find links down below so you can follow me on Twitch, where I'm playing video RPGs now. You can find links to my social media, my support platforms, and a means to contact me directly via email. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the Trail of Adventure.